Hey guys, Dobby back at you. Another story for you. Here's a bone-chilling cemetery story drawn from one of America's most infamous haunted spots, Bachelor's Grove Cemetery in Midlothian, Illinois, just outside Chicago. It's often called the most haunted cemetery in the U.S., with over a century of documented sightings, photos, and encounters still freak out ghost hunters and locals alike. The place is tiny, overgrown, abandoned since the early 1900s, surrounded by thick woods and a murky pond. Perfect setup for nightmares. The core legend revolves around the White Lady, or Madonna of Bachelor's Grove, a ghostly woman in a white dress who appears sitting on a tombstone cradling what looks like a baby. She's been photographed famously in 1991 by a ghost hunting group. The image shows her clearly on a grave in broad daylight. No one else around. Witnesses say she materializes out of thin air, especially at dusk or on moonlit nights, rocking slowly as if soothing an infant that isn't there. Some claim the baby is real in the apparition. Others say it's just her arms folded in grief. But the scariest personal account comes from two college guys in the early 1970s who decided to cut through the cemetery on a dare after a late night party. They were walking the narrow path when one felt a tug on his jacket, like fingers grabbing the fabric. He spun around, nothing. His buddy laughed it off until they heard soft crying from the pond area. They crept closer and saw a house, a full two-story farmhouse, standing where there should have been only trees and water. Lights glowed in the windows, smoke curled from the chimney. Shadows moved inside like a family at dinner. They froze. One guy whispered, "This isn't right, there's no house there." As they backed away, the crying turned into a low wail, and the house began to fade, dissolving like mist. Windows dimming until only the outline remained, then gone. They ran, hearts pounding, convinced they'd seen a phantom home that appears and vanishes, tied to old mob dump stories or a long-gone homestead swallowed by the woods. Years later, paranormal investigators dug up records. No house ever stood there in modern times, but the pond was rumored as a body dumping ground spot for Chicago gangsters in the Prohibition era. Bodies weighted and sunk, never recovered. Some say the White Lady is a mother whose child drowned or was murdered nearby, eternally searching the grounds. Other reports pile on. Phantom cars driving through the cemetery at night with no drivers. Headlights appear, engine revs, then vanishes into the trees. Floating blue orbs that follow people. Graves that look freshly dug, when no one's been buried there in decades. And a farmer's ghost with a horse and plow who materializes on the road leading in, only to disappear when you get close. The cemetery is so active that it's been investigated by everyone from ghost adventures to local cops who refuse night patrols nearby. Vandalism wrecked most headstones long ago, leaving unmarked plots that make it feel like the dead are everywhere underfoot. If you are ever near Chicago and feeling brave, locals still dare each other to visit after dark, but most who do come back quieter, Some never go back at all. They say the place doesn't just hold graves, it holds on to the living who trespass too long. Thanks for listening, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.